All right, welcome back. While you're finishing up your lunch, we're going to go ahead and announce the winners for the poster competition. I say winners plural because we ended up having a tie, so we actually have two winners. So we're going to hear from both of them here in a second. I'll go ahead and tell you who the two winners are. The two winners are Linda Zhang for automated sleep stage scoring using deep learning, and the other winner is Jillian Beltz-Morman, Can We Ignore Baryons in Halo Modeling? So each one of our winners is going to have about 3 minutes to talk about their work. So why don't you come on up? And I actually have a certificate for our winners if they'll come forward. Thank you. Yeah, let's applaud. Absolutely. We had a lot of great entries this year. Thanks also to the judges. We had 9 judges that were helping us out today. So that was great. So yeah, come on up. Here, we'll get you a full color one later. This is a black and white printout. Thank you. Thank you. I need your password, right? I can't do Andreas's thumb. I don't have a, yeah. All right, so we're gonna go in reverse alphabetical order, and we're gonna let Linda go first. Because everybody always does alphabetical order. That's no fun. All right, 3 minutes.
All right. Hey guys. So I'm presenting about automated sleep stage scoring. So what this entitles is, generally when you come to get diagnosed for sleep apnea, you'll come and they'll send you to the sleep lab, and then you'll stay overnight and sleep there. And so during the overnight time, they'll record a bunch of different physiological signals as you sleep. So they'll record like your brain movement, your eye movement, muscle movement, etc. So as you can see in this picture, which is kind of small, you'll have a bunch of physiological signals recorded overnight, maybe like 14 different types. And so you'll have that for the whole 8 hours of data. And what this is called a polysomnogram. So after they get a polysomnogram, generally they send it to the sleep text. And what the sleep text will do is then label what stage of sleep you are during every 30 seconds of your sleep time. And as you can imagine, for a polysomnogram that's about 8 hours long, this can take a while, maybe like 2 or 3 hours. So our problem and what we wanted to do is we wanted to automate this process. And as you can imagine, sleep data is longitudinal over time, and there are a lot of different signals included in it. So we decided to use deep learning models to build a model that predicted the sleep stage from that data. And in sleep, there are 5 different stages, and you can kind of see that from the labels on our confusion matrices. There's wake, 3 non-REM sleep stages, and 1 REM sleep stage. So that is our problem. It was to predict these stages. Because of the nature of the data, as you can tell, it's longitudinal over time as well as over different channels. It's related to each other spatially and temporally. So we used convolutional and recurrent layers in our neural network. We created a model, and as an example, up there under model architecture, you can see that we started with our raw data. In our final model, we ended up pre-processing the data using a spectrogram to convert it to the frequency domain and inputted that into our network. Our network then used convolutional layers to try to find those spatial relationships, and which was then input into recurrent layers that looked for sequence patterns over time, because those stages are sort of just a sequence of different stages. So our final model performed fairly well. We evaluated it using Cohen's kappa accuracy and F1 score. Cohen's kappa because different sleep technicians, there's a bit of variability between what different sleep techs rate stages. So there's that variability between raters, and we measured that for our model versus the sleep techs and got 0.82 score for kappa, which compares well with in general, because in literature, sleep techs have a 0.76 score. And then we have these confusion matrices that show how well our model did on those different sleep stages compared to the text. We also ended up having a .87 F1 score, which was the best in the literature for this problem, and we performed a generalizability analysis testing on other different sleep data sets from different hospitals and on different patient populations. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jillian. I'm a graduate student in the astronomy department, and I study structure formation in the universe, which basically means how and where do galaxies form in the universe. And as per the scientific method, the way that we study this is we come up with some theory for a structure formation. This theory makes predictions, and then we compare those predictions to our observations of galaxies in the real universe. Our most complete theories for how structure forms in the universe involves running very expensive simulations called hydrodynamic simulations. These simulations include all of the matter that we know about in the universe, which means dark matter, which encompasses about 84% of the matter in the universe. And this also includes baryons, or normal matter, so the type of stuff that we are made of and that stars are made of. These simulations include lots of complicated gas physics that is pretty uncertain, and we're not very good at modeling it. They take months and months to run, which means they're infeasible if we want to run them again and adjust the settings and then compare what we see to observations. An alternative to this type of simulation is to run a less expensive simulation called a dark matter only simulation. And like the name says, it only includes dark matter. There's no normal matter in it. But this is still adequate for predicting structure in the universe because dark matter makes up most of the matter in the universe. However, when we make observations of the real universe, we can't see dark matter, we can only see galaxies. And this type of simulation doesn't produce any galaxies, it's just dark matter. So it's not great for making comparisons to real observations. What we can do is we can come up with a simple model, known as a halo model, for deciding how to place galaxies within a distribution of dark matter. And the idea behind it is that if you have a large clump of dark matter, it would probably host several galaxies, and if you have a smaller clump of dark matter, it would host fewer galaxies. So what I did is I took a hydrodynamic simulation, a full one that took months and months to run, that has galaxies in it. I fit one of these halo models to it, so I extracted 5 parameters by fitting the model to the simulation. And then I applied the model to the dark matter only simulation so that the dark matter only simulation would now have galaxies. And then I could measure things about these 2 different versions of how I created galaxies. And the idea is that if the versions match, then the halo model is an adequate substitute for running a full simulation. The short answer to what we found is that as I applied it, the halo model is not adequate is not an adequate substitute for running a full hydrodynamic simulation. But after some modifications to the distribution of dark matter halos and some added parameters in the model, it seems like it will be an adequate substitute for running a full, expensive simulation.
All right, and I should have you may have noticed that Jillian is Andreas's student, but the process was entirely independent. I helped run the process. He was not involved in that in any way, and it was completely legit. There were a lot of great. I don't know if you would have been over there, but you should definitely go over and check out some of these posters. There's a really good work over there. So if you haven't had time, take some time to do that. Okay. So next, I think we're going to transition right to a panel discussion.